Hey, 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 Phoenix is rising. Coach T here, and today's topic is telepathic intruders. Can also be said as psychic intruders. Let's get to it. Let's get to it into our prayer. Today, I'm going to introduce you guys. Basically, I'm reciting the prayers. This is my morning regimen. At least if I don't do it in the morning, first thing in the morning. I say other prayers, but if I don't do these prayers first thing in the morning, I'm going to do them throughout the day. But this is a warfare prayer to combat and to defeat witchcraft that has been spoken over you, especially in your sleep, and demons or monitoring spirits that may have been attached to you, death spouses, all this other kind of stuff. So here we go. Father, and I usually also add mother. Father, Mother, this day I bind Satan and all territorial spirits, every principality, power, spirit, ruler of darkness, wicked spirit in high places. I take divine authority over every familiar spirit, spirits above them, around them, and below them, known or unknown. I bind them with all their assignments against my spouse, children, family members, all on assignment against all that we are, have, and possess. We break loose from their operations now. I break their power and communication lines. I break their supply lines. I curse all of their works and assignments at their roots. I speak spiritual deafness, dumbness, blindness, confusion, paralysis, and incapacitation upon each and every single one of them, and throw all of their plans into continual confusion and disarray. Through the spirit of power and of might of the Holy Spirit, I bind their watcher, scanner, tracker, eavesdropper, divinatory spirit, monitoring spirit agents, and all on assignment up their chain of command. I bind them all up and off from each other and from all mentioned, my loved ones and myself. I loose us all from them, along with all that we are, have, and possess now. I now decree that all that I have spoken and do speak has already come to pass in the realm of the Holy Spirit. I decree all of these prayers accomplished already in the realm of the Holy Spirit. I decree that from henceforth they are unable to see, hear, or understand my moves or speech, that they are unable to track us or watch our activities in the spirit or in the flesh, that they are turned against themselves and cannot carry out their assignments. I curse at the roots all that they attempt, all assignments, blueprints, plots, plans, designs, seedings, works, plans, and activities, all wiles, traps, and snares. I take them all captive to Christ consciousness and cast them down now as vain thoughts and imaginations, along with all demonic ministry to my thought life. I break off of us all curses, hexes, vexes, bewitchments, enchantments, spells, cantrips, ligatures, judgments of witches or warlocks, all acts of evil, magic or witchcraft, all black magic, white magic, candle magic, potion magic, soul ties, bindings, workings, voodoo dolls, sorcery, blood pacts, blood sacrifices, child sacrifices, animal sacrifices, and human sacrifices, blood covenants, and all occult and sacrifices to Santa Muerte, and all occult practices of any kind. I bind them now. I loose us from them now. I break them off of us now at their roots on a cosmic DNA level. I curse them all at their roots. I decree them all made null and void, canceled, never manifested, never come to pass, cursed and destroyed at their roots, rendered of no effect, cast down as vain thoughts and imaginations, and never seated, judged, and spoiled. In Jesus Christ's name, amen and Ashe. And Asheo. Now, Psalms 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shall thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High thy habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over to thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him, and shew him my salvation. Amen, amen, amen. So shall it be, as we have decreed and as we have spoken it, with the universe's efficiency. Amen. All right, so again, topic today is telepathic intruders. And the reason why, well, let me introduce myself a little bit more. So I am a transformational coach and a narc coach for focusing on Black, lesbian, and trans women who are between the ages of 30 and 50, who have survived a relationship with a cluster B personality or any type of trauma and are transitioning. So the cluster B personality can be a family member, co-workers, boyfriends, girlfriends, etc. And now you are ready to go through these 4 steps that I guide my clients through to break generational curses, get to know the Most High God better, and to regain confidence and clarity as to confidence in yourself and clarity as to what your purpose is. The best part is, of course, at least it was for me, reconnecting with your authentic self, that being that was oppressed and suppressed inside of you, but has always been guiding you. So I am not just a coach. I am also a survivor of gang stalking, several witchcraft attacks, which were meant to take my life, and some, unfortunately, that ended up taking the life of my family members, and narcissistic abuse for over 10 years. And in those 10 years, throughout those 10 years, I was homeless for 3 of those years. And I survived because I took it upon myself. I guess you could say I said, I'm going to go ahead and learn what it is that I need to learn to get out of this poverty mindedness, to get out of this pattern of, the cycle of birth and death, right? This resurrecting and dying again, resurrecting and dying again. Okay. And that entailed having to break generational curses. And those 4 steps briefly are: reveal, which are the patterns and beliefs that have kept us in a poverty mentality and not living from our authentic self. 2, heal. When trauma happens, we don't get the bigger, picture. We only get a snippet because we're too frantic. So understanding brings healing. When we're able to see of the 360 degrees, when the Most High God, at least when I went through this with the Most High God, no human. And so it was always a 360. It's like, oh, that's what actually happened. And I would get this I think in pictures. So I would get this on my mind screen. And I'm like, oh, okay, right. Okay. So it frees us. 3, grow. You release fear, guilt, and shame, and forgive others, including yourself, from what has now been revealed to you, right? If you can make it up to somebody or to yourself, do it, right? But you use caution when doing that, because you don't want to. The devil will exploit anything. Right. So make sure if you're going through with me, we're going to make sure that that's what the Most High God told you to do. Okay. If you need to go and approach anybody, you're no longer, with 3, the growth is you're no longer carrying that baggage. You've gained wisdom, and through that wisdom and seeing something for what it actually was, you have then in that moment taken your power back, and you're automatically going to raise in vibration, in spiritual maturity. Okay. Last one, 4, show. So when similar situations arise, we respond with emotional intelligence. Okay. We don't go back to our old ways. So in a nutshell, coaching with me, you can be reassured because I've gone through what many of my clients have and conquered it. Okay, I may not have a mansion, I may not have the biggest car, but I'm still alive. And once you hear my story, you'll realize just how desperate people were to unalive me prematurely. Okay, so let us get into it. There is a book that, let's see which one, and it's called Paranormal Parasites. Where, oh my gosh, where did it go? I had, okay, phew. Okay, so it's called Paranormal Parasites. And it's The Voracious Appetites of Soul-Sucking Supernatural Entities by Nick Redfern. And you guys know, I have a book that I was reading in a playlist called The Wise Lesbian's Guides to Breaking from Crazy Relationships or something like that. And that's by Amber Nolt. And that's a beautiful book. So, for, again, like I said, my focus is on Black lesbians 30 to 50 years old, because I'm creating a niche, a community for us to be able to talk about the gang stalking, why the gang stalking happened, because mine happened just because I rejected another woman who was already in a relationship. But in one of them, I mean, so anyway, that's a whole nother story. So anyway, this is very interesting. So that was one of the books that I read. This book I'm going to read also. So subscribe, like, and ring the bell for the playlist, so you can be notified when that playlist comes up, when I start creating this playlist. So this section is, I think it's chapter 7, and it's called Mind Monsters. And I thought, let me read this real quick for you guys, okay? Now we come to one of the strangest of all the many and varied supernatural creatures that feed upon us. It goes by two names, the tulpa, Tulpa, and the thought form. Although they are one and the same, the concept of the tulpa began centuries ago within the culture and beliefs of Tibetan Buddhists. In essence, a tulpa is a creature that is created and driven by the power of human imagination. If that sounds strange, well, yes, it is strange. Essentially, it goes like this. If you focus your attention on a particular image, let's say, for the sake of argument, that of a fiery-eyed, leathery-winged gargoyle, you can give it some semblance of reality and eventually an independent existence. You lie down on your bed late at night when and where you won't be disturbed, and you focus intently on your legendary monster of choice. You carefully visualize its form, those huge wings, its malevolent face, and its clawed hands. Perhaps you even give it a long and powerful tail. You focus on the image of the beast flying high above the rooftops of your own town in the dead of night, and you repeat that process night after night, week after week, and maybe even month after month. You may even utilize meditative techniques to allow you to enter altered states of mind, which you serve to amplify the imaginary even more. Then one day, reports suddenly begin to surface in your town of what sounds just like the very beast that you have been so deeply focused on in the depths of your mind and imagination. In essence, you have successfully created a monster solely by thinking it into existence. No, the monster is not of the flesh and blood variety, but it lives and thrives all the same. And you alone, are responsible for it. A wholly fictional entity is now active and living in our world. Food for thought. Given the theme of this book, how supernatural entities use us as their fuel, two important questions need answering. How exactly does the tulpa feed on us, and why is it so driven to feed on us? A fully mature thought form cannot exist without one particular thing: a strong and widespread belief in its existence. In other words, the tulpa does not feed on us physically. Instead, it dines on our beliefs. As more and more people come to believe that the creature is real, it gains a greater and more intense foothold in our world and becomes more and more corporeal in nature. If interest in and acceptance of the monster attains huge heights, another issue surfaces. Eventually, the creature is no longer reliant on the beliefs of its creators or to survive. In the early stage, a tulpa may certainly hover around its creator. As it grows stronger, though, the tulpa leaves its moorings behind and effectively draws in beliefs of anyone and everyone that accepts it's real. The disturbing side of all this is that in almost all situations, when the tulpa is fully energized by the collective beliefs of not just hundreds of people, but thousands or maybe even millions, it takes on a deeply malevolent streak. It rapidly becomes evil and dangerous. I'm going to stop there. Again, this is Paranormal Parasite: The Voracious Appetites of Soul-Sucking Supernatural Entities by Nick Redfern, and I am at chapter 7. And so I just read the first 2 pages, or first page and a half. So I have said this before in podcasts, Phoenix is Rising. And this is based off of my experience with people who have done witchcraft on me. Now, I have these people still. I will feel as if somebody is tickling me with a feather or something like that, right? And that is somebody that's trying to see through my eyes. I've also had where I've rubbed parts of my skin or my eyes or whatever, and I've seen spots that weren't there before, right? That's because somebody has tried to embed themselves and whatever their characteristics of like their skin or their attributes, right, on their person. They're literally trying to transfer it to me. I have woke up before with my wrists feeling like, just pain, basically, just shooting pain. I went to sleep. Well, recently we just got out of a shelter, and I went to sleep, and I was laying down, getting ready to, actually go into a deep sleep, and suddenly there was a sharp pain. Now I had something in my spirit had said they're poisoning the food. And it wasn't because it wasn't happening when I had first gotten there. When you have people who are no longer people and have taken on full and complete demonic form because they have not won something and they are beside themselves. This is what cluster B personalities have a tendency to do. When all the tools and tactics and strategies do not work, they go berserk. And when, hiring other assassins doesn't work, and that person still survives and is still alive, right? And they're not being submissive like this, the perpetrator, the predator would want them to, they will literally go into a psychosis, which is what I have watched one who has been after me for 10 years, like Saul after David. And I fasted. I did intermittent fasting, but I ended up having to fast for longer than 24 hours. I ended up having to fast sometimes for 3 or 4 days. God would say, make sure you drink some water or have a little bit of something here, right? Have a cracker or something, right? So, I had to, because the warfare was deep, because the intention, right? So what we just read, these tulpas are fueled by our imagination. And the tulpas, from what this is the first time of me hearing of a tulpa, and I'm going to study more as to what a tulpa is from a Buddhist perspective, as he was talking about. Because they're, as many of you guys know, I practice uh, Vedic mantras. I sing and chant. So I various forms of well, Hinduism, I guess it's not various forms. And and I was thinking, it's like they got a mantra for everything. They seriously, honestly do. And when it says in the Bible, because the Bible is a young book that is a collection of other spiritual systems or religions. And in there, they've kind of, grafted in politics. And so doesn't mean that it's not any, your faith is not any less real. But so if you have tulpas, you also have the opposite of a tulpa, right? So, but again, I'll study that. But anyway, so I would see, and I've told you guys about my gifts to be all the clairs. I can literally see entities in that realm because number one, you're on that vibration, right? I'm at a higher, I can bring myself to a high enough vibration to know and to see what is coming at me. I have literally seen demonic entities appear while I was at work. I have seen them on coworkers. One looked like, I don't know if you guys at the last job that I had done, and it was ironic because the host for this demon said, it feels like there's a demon. Now, this was unsolicited. I did not talk to her about it at all. If anything, I found her to be very disgusting and racist. And she said herself, I feel that there is a demonic entity amongst us trying to cause divide between us. And that's when I saw this thing that looks like from Men in Black, those squid things. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they're called, but it's these. If they're talking to Will, and they have their own, little condo of sorts, very short, whatever, and they look like, God, they kind of look like slugs with legs, but they're not. That's not their texture. Anyway, go watch Men in Black. You'll know what I'm talking about. So that's what was on her. Okay, there's been times where the chronic stalker, this person who is this demon that she's made herself a demon, that's been so obsessed with me and my destiny and whatever it is that I'm doing in my life. Still, I saw her. She sits in people's energy now. So this is what she's done even before she met me, and she sits in people's energy. And she just, and like the guy said, you lay back and night after night, you focus and you concentrate your intentions. You visualize that you are some, great God or whatever, right? And everybody's in love with you or whatever, right? And you try and get that to become a reality. So in somebody else. So, but it's not just that that's what you're thinking. You were literally, you were targeting other people through sitting, getting in a place where you can focus, right? And I've seen her. I've watched her do it. And I know I'm not the only one who can do this. So speak up, my phoenixes, with who also share these special abilities that I have. Where I saw her laying back, and I tapped out of it because she's absolutely horrendous, right? I saw something where she was mimicking me, and just with my cap or whatever. And like, I am a plain Jane, I do the very basics. I'm not stylish in any way. I have a style, but I've not been able to really, for all my life, really, get into that style, because I've always had somebody sabotaging me, because that's been a cluster B personality. So cluster B personalities follow us, like, they gravitate to us like flies on sticky paper. So I saw her laying back, and she's huge. She's a huge person, being. And I saw her laying back, just tapped into what it was that I was doing. Right? I actually watched her do some type of surgery where she did something like, I mean, this, so when this is somebody else saying this, right? This is coming from a book where he's actually telling you that the tulpa is a thought by, it's a thought form, a demonic thought form from a demonic person. So when you have a cluster B personality, when people say, oh, well, I left him, it's okay, but still things are still going on in my life, because you haven't cleared that out yet. You haven't dealt with a lot of people when they get out of cluster B personality, relationships with cluster B personalities or jobs or whatever, it's, you don't learn from it. So you end up going back to, I mean, I just got through with a security company that they were like, oh, we have no problems with just keep recycling you. That's life, birth, and death. That's the pattern that I am breaking in my life. And here you are putting me through it. They themselves have sabotaged me on sites and then had me come to them kind of begging, right, for a job. And I said, you know what? I'm not even, and God brought this up to me because I was like, I am not going to, it's your narcissistic company. I am in a relationship with a cluster B personality that has 14 floors. And they prided themselves. It became, so the competition was, we've had to pay her because she's caught us, but now we really got her, right? The third time's the try, right? And they did, they had me. And I became homeless for a night, or literally was on the street for a night. And this was just recently, literally was on the street for a night and had to stay in a shelter, got to stay in a shelter. Let me rephrase that because it was a blessing, right? Got to stay in a shelter for a few, days, and then, got housing. So I'm very grateful for that experience. But just a side note, this is why you do not procrastinate, because if God has to, he will use your procrastination, not like the devil would use or any demonic entities would use your procrastination, but when he wants you to do something because he has something for you, he wants to route you here, but you're refusing because you don't want to go over there. You think that you need to go over to somewhere different. He's going to use it, and you're going to go no matter what. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, especially when you've come so far. He's not going to allow you to fail, even if you want to fail. That's how good of, the Most High God is. Dig it? Okay. So, hopefully, let me check this. I'm on the page. Okay, cool beans. So, get back to my banners. Yes, and please just interrupt here. If you guys have, I would so love the donations. You guys were so good last time. Thank you so much. Every little bit helps. If I can get 100 people, to donate $1, that's, so it's not, just so I can keep bringing you guys this content, because I'm actually going through this so some of you don't have to, or to better support you if you were a future client or already have been a client, right? So you can say, it's like, okay, yeah, so I'm not crazy. I'm not going crazy. No. So anyway, I would see this person in the spirit realm, and she's just laying on her bed and just laying back, and she's just tuned in. But I actually saw her doing surgery on me. She's coming, she's kind of blindsided me in the spiritual realm. I remember I was walking from, and he's having bums and other homeless people, and I wasn't homeless at the time. I was living out of the hotel, but she was having homeless people wear red and black and harass me and leave little, signages or whatever on me. But then when that didn't work, when I wasn't scared, because see, the cluster B personality has to make you subservient to them. And they use various, tools and tactics, intimidation, gaslighting, color, she was doing it all. And it wasn't happening. She was constantly, I would see her outside of my work, and she didn't care if I saw her. She would leave dead birds and a BB gun pellet by the bird outside of my job near the entrance. Okay, so when you have somebody who has the ability, not a gift, but the ability to astral project or to project themselves into a strong enough to where they're actually affecting the our reality, right? That's what I think that's what you would call a poltergeist, right? So I've seen all this stuff. And so there was one time where I saw a claw, like he's, talking about, but this wasn't a gargoyle. I don't know what the hell this was. I could feel the creature behind me. Right. So this is these guys, and this is more than just this one person. This was, multiple people in the same group who were doing this to me. Right. They were trying to, so I've had people mess with my menstrual cycle, mess with my, because they can't have babies, or somebody messed with their menstrual cycle. I've never met these people before. Right. But you get on the dark web and you get through these people and you say, hey, this person did this, but you don't have any proof. Now, the people that I'm dealing with are really actually involved in sex trafficking. Right. They're involved in sex trafficking. They're involved in dealing with being inappropriate with underage children and kids, especially this one. I've said this before on other podcasts. When you come into my energy, because I can see in the spiritual realm, and I have a spirit of discernment, everybody has an energy signature. There's a woman who is a sex trafficker at a Motel 6 that I was recently staying at. And I've said I was going to post her. I was like, I'm not going to, because she's going to get handled. God's going to handle her, because she does target. See, she likes it when Black people are docile, when they're that step and fetch, that, oh, I'm going to do anything you want me to do, right? She's not a manager. She's nothing. And that seems to be the pattern with these cluster B people, these creatures that I've been meeting, where they have no real position of power, but everybody's afraid of them. Because the reason why people are afraid of people with cluster B personalities, which that's that cocktail of a cluster B personality, consists of the narcissist, the borderline personality, the sociopath, the psychopath, the antisocial, which is so different from being a hermit like I am. This antisocial means I am not going to respect your rules. So if you tell me no, I am going to show you that I am going to do whatever I want to anyway. Doesn't matter what it is. Okay. The histrionic and the bipolar. So, yeah. So, this person, so you have all these people who are talking this stuff, but together, I have watched them in the spirit. And when God aligned me with my soulmate, I didn't know what was going on, but my soulmate at the time, my kin is what I call it, my kin. When we were talking, because we don't talk now, but when we were talking, she would come in and we would just kind of, so there's good and bad. Like if you have telepathic communication with your kin, right? And you know what it is. We're sitting there talking on a soul level. We're talking, our higher selves are talking, right? And I actually said something was so natural, because she was not trying to take anything. She was not trying to beat me. She was not trying to, convince me that I was in love with her or anything else like that, because it was what it was. But they had been working on me all day, and it was starting to reach that precipice, right? That pressure point. And I remember just feeling, like sick to my stomach, just, feeling like things were crawling on my face, all of this stuff. And I saw this huge ball in the spirit realm, mind you, but it was a huge black ball that was animated, kind of like you've watched animes, you see this like something that's always rotating, like there were things that were alive on it, right? Thank you. I saw it coming out at me. It's not the first time that I've seen this thing. Pardon me. Not the first time. But this one was big enough that it could have taken me out, to be honest with you. And my kin came in. She timed it so good. She came, and it was so beautiful. And I will never, ever, ever forget. See, a lot of people don't understand. I don't give a shit about being called, excuse my language, but I don't. I'm a coach. I'm not going to tell you a lie. I'm not. Gang stalking is the truth about gang stalking is coming out. It's been coming. It's been came out. But now the government is getting involved. They've been doing studies like, what is this? You know what I mean? So you have two different sectors. But anyway, it was beautiful and I won't forget it. But I saw her and she's very slender. So I saw a slender arm go, and I see her, she's happy to come to me, right? Like it's literally as if she was like, you see Peter Pan, right? They're floating kind of in the air. That's what she came like that. That was the position she had. So I saw her with my spiritual eyes, kind of like in my peripheral, and she was coming in, and she looks to her right, and she goes, and I hear her say, no. And she bats that thing. And I don't know. I mean, she just batted it. Now, she's skinny. She's petite. Pardon me. Okay. So, she's very petite. Okay. But she came in and she batted it. She backhanded that huge demonic ball of sewage back to wherever the hell it came from. Now, I do have an auntie, but it wasn't her. She was actually Hispanic, Latina. So, so before you guys start talking about, oh, you talk too much about such and such and you're a racist. Nope, because my kin is Latina. So anyway, but that's so if we, and I want to get you guys in who have gifts of seeing. I heard something on it was a Christian podcast, and the lady was talking about smelling demons, and we have gotten Phoenix's Rising Academy. We have gotten so high now on our journeys that we can't hide ourselves anymore. Right? Before they were trying to unalive. That's why they're trying to unalive us, because they want us to hide. They don't want us to be like, oh, this is what I got. God was reminding me when I used to lay hands on people and feel that warmth coming from me and healing. Right. So, but it's really it's people don't understand. It's hard living between worlds and seeing what we see. So I'm creating a community where we can, for Black women and trans, where we can come here and say, hey, yeah, this is what I happened, and this is what happened with me. This is what I saw in the spiritual realm, right? So telepathically, what I had people, these women doing, who were obsessed with me, and they were obsessed with me because I rejected them, and they don't think anything about Black women. They think they like, well, why aren't you docile? You're supposed to be a mammy. You're not supposed to see through me. You're not supposed to see, what I'm doing to you. Your own men don't like you, right? So they're coming to us, and these were Hispanic women, right? Then these are toxic Hispanic women. So your own men are coming to us. So why, how dare you think that you're better than me? I'm right? So these women have, I had a woman, she was trying to keep me from talking to anybody that I was happy to talk to. Like this last job, she was a part of sabotaging it because she would project that discord. Right. So what we have read in the Bible about the attributes and characteristics and the things of the devil are actually are real things. For those of us who have gifts, we can see it. We can see how it's manifesting. So that's what I have been given the gift, to see how these demons have manifest through people who have not healed their wounds and have actually used those wounds to conjure these demons up, and have been literally taking over by the demons. So but they think that, oh, I've just made a pact, and then no, you're taking over. You've given that demon the deed to your property, which is yourself. Right. So I remember having these people, a few of them, like, oh, well, you're in love with me, and you know what I mean. So you have people who are getting into your Akashic records, who are like the one lady was like, as soon as and I knew, I said, gosh, I said, she's going to keep coming around me. Sure enough, I said, I could see it. Just she wasn't doing too much damage. You know what I mean? She was just annoying because she was always there and she was watching me. And people don't understand, you know. And I actually heard her one time say, I can see you. I can see you. And I was like, yeah, you know, few choice words. You know, but she wasn't ready for that. But here's the thing, when they know that you can see them, they start acting up even more, right? Because they know you can't do anything in the physical to them. They're, because now that's even that fuels them even more. So the way to deal with astral terrorists and telepathic intruders is to, you know, one of those ways is to go on a fast, right? At least a 7-day, 3 or 7-day fast, and get into prayer and meditation. Write out your decrees. Say them at least 3 times with conviction, because you are your own empire. You are the king or the queen of your empire. You understand? You've heard me make my decrees. This is how, I mean, even, and some of these guys are stubborn because they don't care. They don't care. It's like, how dare you? This one woman thought that I heard her telepathically. She was thinking so hard that it became, you know, as if she had said it aloud. As I heard it verbatim, she says, you're going to heal me, right? Because they're looking for us to heal them, but also pay them for what they've gone through that we had to heal, right? That's not the way that it works. See, as I've said, when I first started my journey and I first started this YouTube channel, Phoenix is Rising, is that God pays better than the devil does. The devil of breadcrumbs. And you got to go through a whole lot of hell that you may not survive to please him, right? Where with God is very generous because you've already earned it, and God knows that you've already earned it. You feel me? And I would tell them that, and I would make them so mad because I was supposed to be the prize. I was supposed to be like Jesus, and they were going to, you know, gamble off my robe. And I'd already seen that in Sacramento. This Mexican gang had literally taken over Sacramento through gang stalking and traumatizing neighborhoods. And using witchcraft. They would do ceremonies out right in the neighborhood after, you know, out of their houses. They would do like people would sit there and do donuts and screech and then sit there and wait for somebody to say something. You know, and this was all to Santa Muerte. Santa Muerte, you have to give her an exchange. So they were sacrificing other people who would not conform or assimilate into the Norteños, which was what was up there. And so that they could take their gifts, right? I remember when my mother died, there was chaos in the heavens. My mother was very powerful, and they got to her. This is why God just brought this up to me the other day, because my dad didn't like red because he was shot by gang members, and I guess they wore red. No detail has ever been told to me about this, not even by my mom, you know. Rest her soul, because she was very tormented. But she so basically this Mexican gang had always been after her. And this is what I heard when I was on the streets. They will they will not stop going after you. Once you have rejected them, this is the way that they are. They will continue to go after you. Right? And so, you know, I went to my storage and I looked, and I, you know, had my mom's ashes and a red shirt. She was buried in red. When I was being gang stalked, that's all I saw was red and black. And people would say, red and black, this, that, red and black, you know. And I called them Nazi colors, especially when they were combined with white. So it took me a while to admit, like, okay, I have been one of those they've been after for a long time, because it literally runs in my family. The golden child who unalived my mother, because she was a part of that cult, has those same gifts too, right? So when she took out a life insurance policy on me too. And I think that that's starting to come to fruition. I got, or come, the details about that are starting to come out. So, so you have to do the work to think about what you're thinking about, right? So you cover yourself by asking for covering. I plead the blood of Jesus over my crown chakra. Clearing your chakras clears out any type of demonic energies or entities, or curses or hexes or vexes, right? I've had in demonic attachments, especially. I cleared out, I did really intense chakra clearing, and I could just feel the debris just spinning out, spinning out, spinning out. But I also, those people who were attached to me, I have people who are dying who are attached to me that I don't even know, but they know about me. I have somebody that attached a dead person, a literal dead person, to me, right? So you have to get into your prayer and meditation, and that is going to have to consist of fasting, so that you can gain clarity on what it is that is happening to you. Because once you call it out, and people say, "Oh, it's you're a life coach. You're not supposed to do it." No, you're not supposed to call people out. No, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Because I'm not giving you power over me. And I have to give other people the confidence to be able to say, people, I mean, like, especially the lady at the Motel 6, like, I found out that she knew of me and I never knew of her. You understand? Her and her husband, what was revealed is that they're selling drugs out of the Motel 6. And they're also allowing pimps. They're prostituting. So you're human trafficking, right? So I'm going to say her name. I said her name all while I was living there, and she would listen to my podcasts. She still listens to my podcasts, and she never once said anything to me. Never once. Because if somebody said something about me that I knew wasn't true, I would confront them. But see, I have spiritual gifts, and she can't say anything about it. What are you going to say? Then plus, not even just that, she locked everything down. So that weed smell, it's just, she's been in my energy lately because I haven't been in that area. Like, she's trying to see what's going on with me. Why would somebody that you don't know, I just stayed at the hotel for maybe 5-6 months, right? She thought that she was going to have her cake and eat it too. But see, when you think of me as the N word, as a mammy, instead of somebody who is intelligent, who has dreams, who has goals, and you devalue me, and then you force yourself on me. Come on now, right? So the way that you get rid of telepathic intruders is being conscious of them being there by doing your spiritual work, clearing your chakras, covering yourself with the Psalms, right? Placing a hedge of protection. I enhance and increase the fiery sphere of protection around me, myself, my fur babies, and my kin, my soul tribe. And you know what I mean? And I know, and a lot of times it's getting into, when we meditate, get into the practice of taking 5 or 10 minutes to sit there with your eyes closed, not just deep breathing, but imagining a dome or that fiery sphere that surrounds you, and envelop your children, envelop your fur babies, envelop your job. Doesn't matter if you like your coworkers or not. Envelop everybody that pertains to you. And imagine that, and all, as you state and decree this, imagine it. Because this is what I did. If you imagine that there are spikes, that anytime these demonic fragmented spirits come, like a fragmented spirit is a human that's alive, that is projecting themselves, because that they're doing it because they've already been through trauma. That's what's gotten them to be able to fragment pieces of themselves. Right? So now they use it to harass people, instead of using it, at least to be a millionaire, and then, mind your own business, if that's what's going to happen, right? They don't think that far because they're childish. They only think about revenge, right? Demons can only go so far, and that's down. That's it. You can't go up. You can't go up. I mean, I think, well, let me scratch that because I was just thinking about the principles and principalities, right? But they're easy to know. So I imagined that I said like a porcupine anytime, and but this time I use swords. I said, Anybody who comes towards me or my fur babies or my family or my bloodline in any way, shape, or form, if you are intent on breaking and entering and violating our empire, you will be impaled." And I remember having done that, and I focused on it, and everything was working good, okay, in my imagination. This is the beauty of imagination. What ye can do, what I do, ye can do, and greater and more. Right? So stop being distracted by TikTok. Start focusing on your spirituality. Start focusing on raising your vibration, because the whole thing for what these demonic entities do through cluster being, being a cluster B personality, is they want to keep you lower vibing. They do not want to keep you happy. I don't know how many times I've been happy and I've giggled and I've laughed, and all of a sudden I've heard some demonic, snarl around me, because from something that thinks that I'm their possession. I mean, as crazy and creepy as that is, it's a reality. It happens. If it's happening, I've seen things just pass through, you know, that are not necessarily demonic, but don't need to be here, but nobody's taking the care. Like, I had to tell my mom, "You got to go." She was mad because there was something that was stolen that she was mad that she didn't get, or that I didn't get. Right. And she was pissed. So it's like I said, it's hard. I know that it's hard to talk about, but here I am talking about it. So get some confidence from me. Get some confidence from me, but make sure that you put your spirituality first above all things, and work and practice envisioning in your mind's eye what the consequences to people, as I decree such and such and such and such will happen to thee. Like, I've taken money back, I've taken energy back, people are in debt to me. They're going to keep attacking you because they're in denial. It's their nature to do so. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. My whole entire bloodline, now that I have created it anew and purified it, my whole entire bloodline is rich. And I know somebody's like, I could just do this. I mean, I'm grateful to because we are rich. We're a rich bloodline. We got back to our royalty now, right? For several generations, I had to sacrifice this life. I had to sacrifice it. I didn't know that's what was going, you know what I mean? So sometimes when we think, "Oh, I'm not doing this or I'm not doing that," well, the earlier we get to sacrificing, Isa sacrificed himself for his bloodline, because that's what he said, my mother and father don't go here. You know what I mean? If you're not going to help me, you've had all this opportunity to learn these things and you didn't want to. Now you want to bother me talking about I need an audience. You feel me? So with telepathic intruders, it's not the lady. When she attached it was some type of device, and I could watch her doing it, and I remember just being like frightened, like a little kid, like, "Oh my God, like, what are you doing now?" And she's literally, I'm watching her as if how dentists are all in your mouth and stuff, and they're bad breath or whatever, and they're all up in your mouth or all around you, and you're being examined, right? That's what she was doing. And she was like, "No, you're gonna," she was entitled to do it. So when that's when I started fasting longer and making decrees. See, because with the fasting, wisdom comes, because the focus is on my mind now. My mind is not boggled down with other bullcorn, right? Because it's not having to process the poor chemicals in the food that I'm eating, right? And when I did eat, it's not that I ate really crappy, because I didn't. Right? That was something that they attacked me over. How dare you lose weight? Right? So we're going to attack your organs. We're going to attack your body, because if your enemies are learning how you tick, and telling other people who they're later going to commission to come after you because you're too powerful, because you're doing your spiritual work, you know, you have a spiritual practice and you come from a lineage that is protected. They're gonna, you know what I mean, they gotta lie to people. But the thing of it is, you got to know when the devil is talking through these people and telepathically, because it's really subtle. Once they figure out that they're bold, and they'll speak really loud and you'll hear them. But when they know that you can hear them, they'll talk really soft, or they won't say anything at all. But your stench gives you away. As I was starting to say, the lady from the Motel 6, who is a sex trafficker and a drug dealer, I can smell her weed. And I could also, before that, she's also a glutton, where all she thinks about is sweets, 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 sweets. I am not like that. Like, I'll have sweets when it's that time of the month, but that's it. You know what I mean? But all she can think about is sweets, sweets, sweets. And then I started going after sweet sweets because it's somebody else's thoughts. When you know yourself, these telepathic psychic intruders cannot convince you that you need to do something that you would not normally do. So get to know yourself. There's so much going on. I can't even do TikTok. There's all this, you know what I mean? Like, it's too much. Get to know yourself. Because this woman, the succubus that I've talked about before, she was so in with this. She was studying me. Like, she was energetically clinging to me. She had some tether to me, and I could feel her presence all the time. But she was very subtle, so she wasn't doing it, but it was her energy signature, right? When you come around somebody, you know how they think, their gestures, but it's not just their gestures or anything else, because you're in the spirit realm. It's her energy. We have an energy signature, right? Like, ketchup by how it tastes, right? I know that person because I smelt them. And maybe it's another spiritual gift. When we're highly evolved, we just can tell, right? So this person was following me for over a year before I had gotten into a stable place where she happened to be. I did not. And so then she went into trying to, in the filmmaking and script writing course that I took, they call it acute meet, where, we bump into each other. Everybody spills their coffee. The dogs get entangled in between us. And, look, it's so cute how we met, right? That's what she wanted to do. Right? That was her intentions from you. And she was using her imagination. So when she would come in, and I found her on the right side of my brain. Okay, so these guys work on the right side. The right side is what? Right? So she was trying to see, okay, what's this? And then every once in a while they'd go on to the left. We don't want you connecting. So they were literally attacking in the spiritual realm my brain, trying to block me from getting any type of reception from the Most High God or my angels or my spirit team. How you do that? You fast, you pray, you focus. You make your decrees and your petitions. You do your work. You heal. You ask God to reveal what needs to be healed. You book a session with me or somebody else, so that way somebody who can relate but is not going to get too emotional over it, because they can say, hey, no, this is what you need to do. Right? This is what you need to do. Here are the steps that you take. Get this done by the end of the week, and we'll meet again, right? Basically, again, that's what I went through this by myself. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I still don't have anybody to talk to. Right? I still don't. But I'm here for you because, I don't have any human to talk to. I have the Most High God who's always giving me downloads. Always giving me and that's the beauty of it, because when they block one thing, the Most High is like, okay, boom, right? We can do this, go here. And this is what the Most High God was telling me. And also, you do not procrastinate. If the Most High God tells you to do something, go do it. And you can discern it. That's why we do our work. That's why we go through the dark nights of the soul. That's why we do the shadow work of digging into our childhood on. So that way the devil doesn't have a foothold and it doesn't plague the rest of our bloodline. We are our bloodline's purifiers. You know, a lot of people don't take up the charge because why? You don't get to go out. You don't get to play games, right? You got you don't get to really date, you know what I mean? And dating is just isn't what it's all cracked up to be after you really get a dose of spirituality. You know, the real spirituality, not this, oh, I'm spiritual and da 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 da. You know, I can talk the jargon, but I don't have to live the lifestyle. You can't do it without that. So anyway, hopefully this helped. This I've been sitting on this for a minute. I went through all my thumbnails and I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't do this. I didn't do a podcast on this one. So I hope that you guys found this helpful. If so, please tell me about it in the comments. And just know it gets better. It does not get worse. It gets better. And so being a scriptwriter, novice, I mean, I still got some work to do, but I've been distracted from doing so much that I'm just naturally gifted at. But as a scriptwriter, there's 3 acts, right? So in the 3rd act, which is basically the conclusion. So usually in the 3rd act, it'll be like, oh, so, pardon me, hold on. We're almost there. We almost did it. Yeah. And then something just comes and cuts them at the knees, right? How many times have we seen movies like that? They're like, okay, we got this great plan. We've gotten the downloads. We've gotten the sage. The sage said this. We bought this. Okay, let's go ahead and execute this, and we're going to get out of here, right? And then knees, they get cut at the knees, and then it's like, oh God, I can't do anymore, right? I'm going through that right now, just to be transparent. Because as I've said, I have had this sociopath stalking me, and I'm nowhere near her. I'm at a distance, and both of them have showed up. I've seen them. But sometimes, though, we need to go through that last defeat. We have to go through that last defeat in order for the Most High God to show up and show out. We may not know. I don't know how God's going to do that in my life right now. All I know is I'll let him. I'll let him. Right? And then somebody becomes king or queen, or we find the treasure, you find your long lost loved one, or they're unpetrified, the curses are broken, right? All the above. And then there's the end, but it's in that between the end of the 2nd act and the 3rd act where it's like, we almost had it, and now we're exhausted. I don't want to do this anymore, right? We lose faith. We're like, you know what? I put in all this work, and I've said this. I was like, hey, I put in all this work. I already went through this. Why am I going through this again? And especially what's really hard is especially when you know that you've done nothing wrong to have these patterns repeat again, because you've already conscious of the patterns happening, right? But yet here it comes, right? Here it comes. And that's the devil trying to make you believe through these cluster B personalities, trying to make you believe that you can't do anything, that God doesn't have your back. And I mean, it's been a challenge, because I'm like, okay, it's not that the devil has theirs, but you're conjuring one of these people who have been stalking me for a long time, that she's been stalking me for about 3 years now. And it's maddening. She's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, as well as having, character disturbance. Where just like a little girl thinks that, oh, everybody has to do this for me, and if I picked you, then you're going to do this, and that is absolutely bizarre. But she'll scare away, right? And this is one of these people, because sometimes God will let you handle people who continue to come for you. Like I got the okay from the Most High when they were plotting to break into my room and sex traffic me, right? So my accusers, my gang stalkers, have all been mad because I am not having sex with them. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to be in the same room with them. Have all been mad because I pray, I fast, I glow, and I don't know these people. I don't know these people by name, but you better believe when I left Sacramento, I had over 1,000 views on my videos because they were trying to see what was going on. Where are you at? I had somebody call me, bitch. I already knew. God already revealed that you were a part of the gang stalking. You're wearing red hair and red and black. You're a part of the gang. You're white as snow, but you're a part of the gang, right? And not to say anything about that, but just, you have to put the pieces together. What cluster B personalities and societies will do is that they will try and get you to believe that there's something wrong with you because you see what you see, you know? So, um, yeah. So yeah, right. It's right before it, and it's been very hard. And I know that there's been energies around. It's kind of like there's been this transition, but it's been really slow, very slow. It's like molasses slow. It's dragging. And saying to the Most High God, is like I was walking, and I'm still being attacked. My body is being attacked. My circulation is being attacked. It's like they're doing all these attacks, man. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna let you handle it because I'm gonna do whatever I do. But and then my job's been attacked, and then there's just life. Like I just got into this new place, and something told me you're not gonna be able to afford it. Not for lack of trying. Do you know I was going to go on an orientation today, to go ahead and seal the deal on a job, get my thing, and they already have work for me, and can't do it because people are on a bus strike. And I went there and couldn't go the rest of the way. I was halfway there, and I don't have the money for a lift. I don't. So I am, and that's what I said, and I heard it too. It's like I am so tired of other people's choices. That's what I wanted to say. It's the hardest thing, Phoenix, is when you reach that point in your spirituality where it's no longer you making those repeating those patterns, but it's other people's choices that are affecting your life, and nobody cares. They don't care. You know, they don't care. So again, how we deal with telepathic intruders is we do our work, is we meditate, we use our imagination to enhance our spiritual, our energy, right? If you want protection, imagine being surrounded by piranhas and other things. You can create your own creatures, like we just read in the the book. You know, let me see here. Paranormal parasites, the voracious appetites of soul sucking supernatural entities. And we read about the mind monsters in chapter 7. It's a real thing. And I'm grateful for that. God is putting me in alignment with these books so that I can read them with you guys or to you guys. And you could be like, oh my gosh, yeah. This is what happens. So that's what that is, right? I haven't seen all of it. I saw the man in the hat when I was homeless. I was like, and I wasn't like, didn't go out to be homeless and be like, oh yeah, let me go look for the man in the hat. No, he just literally showed up, and he's not a nice, it's not nice. Whatever it is not nice. And it was surrounded by a whole bunch of other demons. I'll talk about that, in another podcast. But anyway, so yes, use your imaginations, right? Use your imagination to, I've had, and make your decrees. Don't be. People are so afraid. Oh, I can't unalive somebody. Well, they're in the spiritual realm and they're trying to kill you. They're trying. You know how many people have tried to cause me to have a heart attack? I almost fell out on 3 different occasions. Heart's fine. I went to the gym that very day and busted out. Heart was fine. Do you understand what that does to somebody? But God, God had to, was like, they've tried to kill you, daughter. They've tried to kill you. They're still trying to kill you. This isn't a joke. My life isn't a joke. I've been fighting for my life for the last 12, 15 years. You know how exhausting that is. But I see how long it's taken them to get me to the point where I'm at right now, where it's like, okay, God, you show up and you show out. Because the next person who does it, I may not restrain when you tell me to. Because I'm tired. The whole world is in chaos. And the only thing that these demonically inspired creatures, cluster B narcissist pricks, can think about is getting the upper hand and winning at all costs. But what did you win? You made somebody homeless. You know what I mean? And that's their goal with me. We're going to make you homeless. You're not going to start over again. That's what these two is like. We're not, if you don't want us, if you won't include us, that's why the cluster B personalities are. If you do not include us, we're going to take everything from you. You're never going to be. So that's why a lot of us have to start over again. And we're not aware of it. Once you become aware of it, you can sometimes block it. You know, ask the Most High God, how do I thwart this attack right here? Can you thwart it for me? What in me is giving them a foothold, if anything? If not, help me to just to stand. You feel me? Because it's all about you protecting you, but having the tools because you're aware. You know, my people die for lack of knowledge because you don't have knowledge of who you are. Because you're trying to be in the in crowd. Nicki Minaj says something. It's like, you know, when she was growing up, there were people who really had vocals, you know, and basically there's the one thing that they've done is they've taken the vocals out of black women and put them into white women, right? Kelly Clarkson, she was trained. She didn't come with that voice. She had lots of surgeries. Adele had lots of surgeries so she could hit those notes in a genre that she doesn't, you know. So, and I mean, it's really to each his own, but you know, it's not like they're saying, hey, I want to keep the food out of creative black women's mouths, right? But when the only thing that black women feel that they can do is to strip their clothes off, while Adele has all, you know, is big and fat, Yeba's big and fat, you know, Sam Cooke got big and fat, right? So these guys don't have the pressure of trying to be skinny, right? And looked at. That's why I'm grateful for Lizzo. I covered a Lizzo concert last night, but I'm grateful for Lizzo because whatever, you know, hopefully it's not just propaganda, but whatever it may be, because I know the struggle with my weight is energetic. It's not because I don't eat right. It's not because I don't have the right attitude. It's not because I'm not willing to put in the work. God knows and sees that I've put in the work, been putting in the work. But it's energetic. When somebody is jealous of you and does not want you to get up, they're going to take you down. So if anything, do the work on yourself so that you can be able to survive these attacks and not be a victim of it. Okay? Anyway, I'm going to get off here. I love you guys. Hopefully this helped you. Book an appointment with me. Get at me on my by the links in the description. And remember, your blessings, phoenixes, are in your ashes. Rise.